Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Column Shifters podcast. I got it right this time. See?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Anywho, I'm one of your hosts here today, Juan Johnson, amateur race car driver / SCCA official / general. I hit cars until they work right most of the time. And I'm joined here today by my compatriot, Hunter K. Reeves. Say hello, Hunter.
Hello, Hunter.
Hunter, what is special about you? Why should people care about what you have to say, mister?
Because I have a great mustache and I like to talk about cars.
Yeah, look at those credentials, ladies and gentlemen.
That's all the credentials you need.
And also, obviously, we're both content creators for the Column Shifters website, which goes along with the podcast, which, by the way, if you like what we have to talk about, we got tons of other stuff that's written up. I love how I'm pointing at something as if the website has a physical location. Like, yeah, it's right there behind the car. You know, move the car out of the way, boom, that's our website.
Yep, that's it. It's
That's
right
it. Actually, the website is in the trunk of the car. I host it out of my car on the go. That's how dedicated I am to this. I can host even in the apocalypse, the website will be hosted and it'll be mobile. They can't shut this down. So, anywho, getting on to, unfortunately, Brian wasn't able to join us here today because he had to go get a door installed, I guess, or something along those lines. It's like his door was getting delivered and his dad was going to install it, and somehow that kept him from being here. Whatever. So today we're just going to be talking. So, what are you laughing at? Don't you make fun of me and my stuttering?
Somebody just texted me and it popped up on my computer and it was really stupid. So I'm muting that right now.
What was so funny?
Somebody texted me a picture that said, I went to a Trump rally and all I got was COVID-19. I don't mean to be political, but that did make me laugh a little bit.
It's pretty. I like it. It's pretty good. So, anywho, this is a podcast about general automotive news. Yeah, it's about cars, car news, our interest in cars, as well as tons of car topics. We're gonna have some special episodes coming up here pretty soon. Which will, consist of interviewing people in the car world and, small stories surrounding cars and our personal experience with cars. And on a very, very often occasion, it's about sim racing. Our first podcast was basically was it the first one or the second one that was 100% iRacing?
It was the first one.
It was the first one, yeah. So the first one was 100% iRacing. So if you're into car-related stuff, do not hesitate to... It depends on whatever app. To do the subscribey thing to keep track of all of our podcasts that come out here in the future, because we're going to keep on talking about car stuff until either car stuff stops being a thing, or until we die, or until we get bored, or until we give up. One of those things. So basically until anything happens.
Until stuff happens.
Yeah. So, that being said, today we are going to kick things off with a bit of spicy news that a lot of people were looking forward to and other people didn't give a dang about. And that is the Mustang Mach 1 has officially been announced / teased / whatever you want to call it. And basically, for all intents and purposes, for those of you guys who were super upset that the 350 or the Mustang GT 350 was dead. It's a little bit of that. It's not quite as hardcore still. It's kind of somewhere dead between the highest performance pack Mustang GT and, well, I love how I'm saying this, and in reality that's the Bullet Mustang. That's what the Bullet was. So it's a weird hybrid between the Bullet Mustang and the GT 350. In that you can get it comes with the stock wing that the GT 500 comes with. So if you're more soft core with your GT 500 and you didn't get the big track wing, the little what's it called? Gurney flap. Yeah, the little gurney flap wing that it comes with as the base option is available on this car. You
get lip spoiler.
Yeah, you get the lip spoiler. It does get a cool grille, which I'm a little torn on, 100% a little torn on, because it has the two big circles, which, in the past on classic Mustangs was always the two big old fog lights, which is, kind of
Yeah,
what started the whole, higher end Mustangs having the cool fog lights. In this case, they're actually intakes for the car, so they're big old intake tubes. And so
that's cute.
it is cute. I like it. I like that they made it functional because, to be fair,
Yeah,
in this day and age, those fog lights really are vestigial at best, which is why no trim of modern Mustang comes with them. But that being said, I am still a little bummed because I do like the big old foggies. I'm a little biased to that though, as somebody who has big old foggies on his cars, which I'm down
I
to. I'm down
I
to
do
gold
like this
foggies.
car a lot.
Yeah, that
God.
is, as a whole, I do like the front end, again, not quite as aggressive as the 350, but it is still like a really, really unique kind of look. So, and it's nice though that we do still have, because there's a big jump between the GT, or the GT Performance Pack. Is 2 the highest one or 3 the highest one? Do you remember?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say, either 2 or 3. I apologize to all you Mustang fanboys out there, crucify me. Um,
I'm
but
sorry, Joe.
there's a big jump between the highest performance pack GT and the GT 350. Like, you get a ton of extra. You get a engine oil cooler, you get a transmission oil cooler, differential oil cooler. You get all the coolers basically jumping up to the 350 with its packages, and so the Mach 1 gets all of that stuff. So for those of you guys who really are hardcore track people, because again, like you guys know, I hate that I'm this way, but I am a little gatekeepy with, getting all the crazy out the wazoo track mods, but a lot of people genuinely don't benefit from them other than being able to brag about it. But for those of you guys who actually do see more than 2 track days a year, it's going to help a ton with the longevity of the vehicle, and likewise also, if you're one of the people who's actually putting down like competitive time attack numbers, then it means you're not going to blow up your diff mid-run because everything's overheating and everything's super unhappy. So, again, it's nice that we're getting to keep that option, and plus also, I will say the Mach 1 name is a heck of a lot cooler than
Yeah,
GT350. Like, if you're really hooked on that number, I apologize if I offend you, but Mach 1 sounds a hell of a lot cooler. To be honest, even because it's literally the word Mach 1. It means it's the idea of
speed of
speed.
sound.
Yeah. So it's like, if anything, I would almost even think, like, I get that because the GT500 name has a lot more heritage. Well, a little bit more heritage. Like, that's why the fastest one is that. But it would almost make sense for the GT500 to be the Mach 1. Because, like, that's the one that's like, holy shoot biscuits. This thing is freaking fast. But, nonetheless, that's what the Mach 1 is. And, oh, and then also, like I said, it's the same, I believe it's the same engine as the Bullet Mustang. If not, it's slightly modified from that. So you also get, an added 480 horsepower. Which, that being said, I think, did the GT350 make more horsepower? I can't remember if it did. I think it did.
Yeah, I think it did. Yep.
Yeah, it did. And oh, you know what? And I will say one thing that is really sad is that this one isn't the flat plane crank. So that is one thing that's going to be a huge loss between the Mach 1 and the 350, which I genuinely will miss it, because after hearing one in person for the first time, I was like, that is a V8 sound. That is the V8 sound. Like, oh my god, that is so nasty. And plus, dude, when you put them into track mode, like, that car is louder than my catless car. Like, well, to be fair, it's a V8, so of course it's going to be louder than my little 2-liter 4-banger. It's literally twice the size of my motor. But still, it's like, that was where it's like, legit, you need hearing protection to be outside of that car. And it's just so nasty, and because it's just such an uneven, growly, and brappy tone. So I'm going to miss that for sure, but, at the end of the day, there's millions of... Okay, there's not literally millions of, but there's tens of thousands of GT350s out there that you can pick up if you really, really want to get that back, and it's there's 2019, so they're brand freaking new. Because especially, I'm sure there's a lot of GT 350s that got bought, and then the GT 500 got announced, and then some old man went, well, shuckaroony, this thing's garbage now. My friends aren't going to be impressed by this at the country club. So, that being said, it kind of, that's the Mach 1. There's tons of, obviously, most of you guys have already heard everything you need to hear about this thing, so there's tons of information out there on it. Just Google Mach 1 and you can find out all the little specifics that we kind of didn't touch over today. So, that being said, a fun little tangent to that is for those who don't have one of the fancier Mustangs, a lot of people are starting to sue, not just complain and not just ask for a recall, but legit sue over the I believe it starts with a G. It's a Getrag?
Getrag.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're suing over the Getrag transmission that's in 2011 to 2019 Mustangs, because apparently over time it gets notchy, has trouble people have difficulty shifting into gear with it. Apparently transmissions are straight up exploding, and this is something that anybody who follows the muscle car world has been saying for years. Oh, the Mustang transmission's terrible. Why did they get rid of the Tremec? Why don't they just use a Tremec? Dodge uses a Tremec and they make twice as much horsepower and it doesn't blow up. So so there's actually many people are actually filing a class action lawsuit at Ford over this. So who knows? Depending on how it goes, some of you guys may actually get to luck out, and you may get reimbursed for a transmission repair that you had to do if your transmission blew up out of warranty. Or likewise, you may get you may even get a new transmission out of the deal if they actually opt for a fix of some sort. So boom. Kind of fun news there. So, next up, Hunter, I'm going to go ahead, instead of me talking constantly, I'm going to let you talk about this next fine Ford product.
Hopefully the transmission doesn't blow up. Because the new Bronco is here. And, well, I think the biggest news, I mean, everybody knows the Bronco's coming, but I think the biggest news is the date they decided to announce it, to officially release it. Do you know what it is, Juan?
I do know what it is, and I find it hilarious that it wasn't even on purpose.
I think that was just long enough so we don't get sued. But yeah, in case you didn't know the news, they're releasing the Bronco on O.J. Simpson's birthday. So,
do you think O.J. is gonna get a free one?
Oh hell yeah!
I hope to get, because I honestly really do hope. I hope that he is self-aware enough on this. Obviously the whole situation is a big old deal, so it's not really that funny. Not even in retrospect, in all specs, but I really do hope that he gets in on it and gets one. I don't even care if it's white. I just hope that he gets one. But it'll be even.
I want him in a commercial.
Dude, if we were in a less PC world, that would be the best new Bronco.
I think a recreation
of the whole thing. Just a not the whole thing, obviously, because that would take forever, but just a recreation of, a handful of the scenes there, but with the new Bronco. Anyway, that being said, though, the new Bronco is going to be announced really soon. It was going to be announced back in spring, but, thanks to COVID, that didn't happen. But we're going to be getting it soon, and there's some kind of new news floating around about it. Apparently it is going to feature a 7-speed transmission, and no, we're not talking Corvette style or 911 style 7-speed. We're talking you've got reverse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there have been the Fastlane Cars is the one who got this spy shot or not spy, a photo that is early. But there's a gear marked C, which for anybody who knows anything about 4x4s or off-roading vehicles would easily be able to figure out. That's insert that's a Pangus gif here, but that's a crawl gear. I can't do that. Let me see if I can do the face. I don't know if I can do the face. Because you gotta go from content to surprised to disgusted. So it's like, that's a crawl gear. But nonetheless, so and it's something that flat out the Wrangler has it. If this car was going to be a competitor against it, it was going to have one, and it's nice to see that it is in fact going to have one. So the Bronco is just more and more, with the teaser videos that they released a while back showing it, bouncing around in the mud and doing stuff. It's shaping up to be a really, really solid competitor. And I hope that it really does turn out to be, because and actually one of our authors, Cody Stewart, is going to be writing an article about this pretty soon. But Jeep has been given every excuse in the world to get long in the tooth and to get lazy. Not that means it's not capable. Every new generation Wrangler is more capable than the next one. So, and there's no, Jeeps aren't bad at what they do. They're still absolute monsters off-road. But it's nice that that they may be getting some competition that actually makes them go, okay, let's innovate instead of just mildly upgrading things. Which, by the way, can I say?
I think this is gonna when the Bronco comes out, it's gonna make Jeep kind of wake up. But then again, the new Jeep is pretty good, so.
Yeah, and I still remember when I first found out, because the new Jeep has so many just, nice little features, between if you get the Rubicon, you get all the trail cam stuff, which is, that'll be a take it or leave it kind of thing. For me, yuppie techie boys were like, oh, that's so cool. For anybody else, they're going to be like, oh, great, it's going to be the thing I break 15 minutes into the trail and have to pay $700 to fix. I don't want that. Which is why it's optional. But then you also have fun little things like how the JL Wrangler has the little tray. I forget where it's located on the Jeep. It's in the bottom sill or something. But you have storage for all of the bolts and stuff for when you take your doors off and everything. There's actually places to keep track of those bolts built in. And it's just little things like that it's that is super freaking neat. The Jeep does have so much thought put into its target demographic. If you're the target demographic and you disagree with me, you're kind of a little wrong, but, from what I've heard, Jeep guys hate Jeep more than anybody else, so, you can't make everybody happy there.
No. You can't, no matter what you do.
But yeah, and then I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we really need to mention? No, just big things. We're just crawl gear and O.J. Simpson. Boom. Nailed it.
Nailed it. Done.
So up next, is kind of less happy news. So a famous Porsche designer / engineer, Hans Mesger, unfortunately passed away. I tried my best to memorize the list of things and immediately failed. But this man has worked on everything from just basic,
the 60s to the 90s.
The 60s to the 90s, everything from basic engine design to race car design. The dude was a critical part of Porsche for, up until he wasn't at Porsche. So, peace out, Hans. You did a lot of really great things for Porsche, and here's hoping that the people who followed after you are continuing to follow on in your memory. That sounded really insincere the way I said that. Now I feel bad.
That was horrible.
That was just terrible. I am sorry. I actually cared. I was just so busy staring at my thing that I was just like, blah, 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 blah. Porsche guy died. Okay, da, da, da. So let's try that again. Hans, peace out, brother. We really hope that you get the best treatment up in automotive heaven. We really do, because flat out, that's always one of those things is it's I love thinking about just how different things could be if different people were in charge of something, or if just the right or wrong things hadn't happened. there are so many people who have made and broke companies as a whole, not just car companies. Like, where would McLaren be without Senna? Like, because McLaren was, like
well, they had Prost, so
they did have Prost.
probably
That's fair. But at the same time, where would they be without Senna?
they wouldn't have built a car called the Senna. That's my guess.
Would have been just called the Prost.
It would have been called the Prost. I would like the Prost more.
Really? I like Senna more. Senna actually sounds like a
Prost.
name. Prost sounds like a brand.
Prost sounds like a European grocery company. But
but still,
I think the next car they should make is a Prost.
So I think right now I don't even know what's in McLaren's like future plan because they built their.
They're about to go belly up, so who knows?
Who does know?
Speaking of going belly up, as we segue on into
do you think the Taycan is gonna go belly up?
No, Porsche's pulling out of IMSA.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't notice that got put up in there. Yeah. So you want to talk about that one? I'll let you run with it.
I do and I don't. I've read.
I said, go, be free.
Oh, thank you. No, I mean that's pretty much it. They said just the current situation, they're pulling out of IMSA. That's pretty much it. I mean, people are trying to cut money wherever they can, so race cars got to go.
Yep. Which sucks, because, dude, the IMSA vets are like... Or, why did I say IMSA vets? The IMSA Porsches are, like, honestly some of my favorite IMSA cars, like, flat out.
It's the iRacing curse.
Yeah. And, like, it's seeing them gone... Yep. Hopefully, like I said, once all of the COVID stuff blows over, whenever it does, we start to see some recovery, but... Man, honestly, I would be really curious. Like, probably by the end of this year, I kind of want to do a look back and just see what all companies have changed their stances on, and just kind of get a sense of like when we're gonna be back where we were before all this happened. Like in terms of company success, because there's some companies that actually didn't get hurt as bad as people thought they were going to. Like I think Toyota actually weathered the storm really, really well. Honestly, it's kind of...
it's Toyota. They sell a car every 3 seconds. Yeah. So,
well, and it's also just kind of funny, but all of the stupid deals worked. Like when all the companies went into full sell mode with the 0% deals and the no payments for 3 months and all of the other stuff. Like that really actually did get people out buying cars. It almost got me out buying a car, but I like money, so there's that. But that being said, it was just kind of, I just realized I didn't get my drill bit back from somebody. Oh, I need to go bug him. Sorry, I totally got sidetracked on that. But yeah, so I lost my whole train of thought there. Oh yeah, but just
good job.
Yeah, there's tons of companies that were actually able to, like, as a whole, if there's one thing that was overblown about coronavirus, it's how bad it was going to be for the auto industry, because it was bad. It wasn't good, but from what I've been able to see, none of the crazy, like, the only companies that had to do crazy things were the the boutique cars, like McLaren, Ferrari, or I don't even know. Yeah, Ferrari did some cutbacks, but that was also because of the F1 rule change with the budget limits and stuff.
Yeah. So that means you're going to IndyCar.
Yeah, and then, but like for the most part, your big money makers were just like, we lost a few tens of thousands worth of car sales, but which is it's not like that's not a lot, but it's hardly enough to shake the foundation of the companies that actually matter to the economy. I'm sorry, supercars, you guys don't actually matter to the economy.
No, they don't. They matter zero to the economy.
Like, I love you, and I don't want you to go anywhere, but you do not matter in any scope of things. Well,
does the next car matter?
I think the next car matters because it's my dream EV. which
Well, let's
is,
talk about the next car.
yeah, we are going to talk about it, and that is the Porsche Taycan wagon. Taycan? Taycan? Is it Taycan?
Take,
Taken?
taken,
Is it Taken?
taken.
I thought it was Taycan.
Every time you get in, Liam Neeson tells you he'll find you and kill you because it's the Taken.
So anywho, obviously, for those of you guys who haven't been under a rock for the past 2 years, the Taycan is Porsche's answer to the Tesla Model S, and we are officially getting so basically much like the Panamera, which by the way, the Taycan is not on a Panamera platform. It is its own thing because it's a skateboard and all the other stuff, so it's not the same platform. But for all intents and purposes, the Panamera and the Taycan are basically, like the difference between like your eco hippie brother and then his twin brother who's like, I don't know, a truck driver. That's a terrible comparison, but long story short is they're very similar. Like they are based around a lot of the same things, but they're also different.
Yep.
Anyway, long story short is thus because of that, there's a Porsche Panamera wagon and we're getting a Taycan wagon, which is gonna be hella dope because it's the more practical one. Although I will say when Porsche does a wagon, they don't really go whole hog, so it's more like they took the trunk and then they added a little bubble on top. It's still more storage space, and you have fold-down seats, so you get that long ways, storage. But it's not quite as aggressive, especially in cars like these. Like, so the Panamera is a liftback already, so it's like the wagon bit literally added. I think it was like it's less than 10 feet of cubic, or it's less than 10 cubic feet, inches, 10 cubic inches. God, if you got 10 cubic feet, holy crap. You got the double the length of the car right there. But yeah, you only gained like it was less than 10 cubic inches, but still it's usable space, and I kind of like the look. It's a little more, even more matured and kind of classy in like, like a I have grandkids kind of way, I guess, but it's not like an old people car. It's just cool. So that being said, that is actually on track despite, all of the budgety cuts and all sorts of other stuff. So I guess they cut the IMSA cars so they could keep on pooping out wagons.
So what we got to do? Got to keep on pooping out them wagons.
Pooping out them wagons so we can build more race cars in the future.
Oh hell yeah!
I forget. Has Porsche? Didn't Porsche pull out of something else big over the past couple of years?
Yeah, the WEC. They stopped their LMP1 hybrid program.
That's right.
Because somebody got caught cheating with emissions, and they had to pay a hefty fine.
We're not going to say who that is, because, it's a secret. Nobody knows who got caught doing that.
Not a person. Not a soul.
Not a soul. Nobody got in any trouble for it whatsoever. It was a no problem.
Yep.
It's just a little white lie that went perfectly fine.
Yep. Exactly.
So, speaking of perfectly fine, I'm not about the decision that Jeep recently made, which is, this is a really quick one, but Jeep decided to ditch 3 of their paint color options. So they decided to ditch the army green color. They decided to ditch, I forget, man, I forgot the middle color. What was the middle color? Because my tab
No. They got rid of teal, orange, and lime green, but the army green color is coming.
Oh, okay. So it was so the green color's gone. They got rid of orange, and then they got rid of my personal favorite color, which is bikini blue. If you've never seen a Wrangler in bikini blue before, go find one, because in my opinion, it is one of the most stunning colors FCA has ever put out. Like, flat out. It is a gorgeous color, super duper pretty, and those bastards axed it. I can't believe
Yeah, gotta put on military green.
Nobody likes this bikini. To be fair, honestly, I really do wonder.
I'm not a real man if I had the word bikini.
Yeah, that's what I'm honestly wondering.
It probably is, dude.
Yeah, it didn't test well.
It's gotta be.
But then why not make it like beach? Well, I guess beach blue is still kind of a little.
Oh my god, that's my favorite. What's it? Yankee Candle scent.
Ocean blue then. Ocean blue. That is.
That's still.
I
But
guess I
still,
keep
I think
going to...
I think he could get away with sky blue.
But it's not sky blue.
Yeah, well then you have to change the color.
I'm just bummed. Because I was really looking forward to that color actually making it onto the Gladiator, because that would be like... My dream Gladiator would be bikini blue, Rubicon Gladiator. Like, that's the dream build right there. Absolute dream build, and now it's never going to happen. Never one way, no how. So, rest in peace. Rest in peace,
Rip.
Bikini Blue. You will
Rip.
be missed. So, let's see. Let's go on to the next thing. Do you want to talk about this one? Do you want to talk about the glaring
We've talked about this already.
Yeah, but we talked about it for the 4 series. We haven't talked about how bad the M4
yeah, well, it's
is.
just it's as you imagine
The M4
a rolling trash can.
The M4 is literally significantly worse than the 4 series. Like, I was like, okay, the 4 series is kind of okay. There's some stuff wrong with it that I don't like, and the stuff that I like. The M4 legit looks like a freaking comic book character. Like, they smoothed out, like, everything around the giant nostrils. The nostrils are even bigger. Like, they are literally the entire height of the bumper on the M4. And it looks weird. Like, it looks so bizarre. Like, I really do think, like, the M3 is still, like, the go-to, so I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I think that we really are going to end up having a last-gen Camaro moment here, because I don't think anybody is going to buy an M4 that looks like that. Like, I'm sorry, it just... Maybe in other countries,
makes no sense to me.
But here in the United States, I do not see that. I do not know a single person. Like, I mean, literally, all of the memes are about how terrible it is. Like, I do not see how they... And again, I get that it's because in other markets, I'm sure it tests well. But, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a different USDM M4 bumper at some point. Or maybe not, because that's the thing, is it's expensive to do that. It is expensive to retool for a different bumper. Because I believe all the M cars are built in Germany. I don't think any of them are built here in the United States. So it's like Germany handles all of the high-end M products, which means that it is a lot of retooling and it's a lot of manufacturing complication to make a change per region. So, I don't know. We might be stuck with it. Or people will just go, you know what? 2 doors are lame. 4 doors are in, and get the M3, which presumably will not look as bad.
No, yeah. Hope to God it doesn't.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. There's very little to say about how bad it is now.
Yep.
So, let's see. On to our next thing, which has absolutely nothing to do with BMW. A lot of you guys have already heard this already, but... NASCAR has officially banned the Confederate flag from... now, that being said, it's not banned for spectators to bring their own Confederate flag. So if you want to
it is.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, no, it's everything.
I forgot. It is.
You're not walking into a race. You're not walking into a track with the Confederate flag anymore. It just ain't happening.
Yeah. Which, I do find it kind of interesting that they were willing to go that far. Like, it makes total sense. I just do find it interesting that they are willing to infringe on the rights of their target demographic in certain centralized regions to the Americas.
Oh, man. I tell you.
I'll tell you what.
Tell you what. And the social medias were on fire with that one.
Yeah, they really were. Like, my favorite thing is just how many people came out and straight up offended by it. I know, I know, and now associate less with some people who genuinely were mad about it.
Yeah, same here. Like, I don't understand the defense of it anymore. And there's a really, and I don't want to get political, but like, there's a really good article put out by Ryan McGee, I believe his name is. writes for ESPN. He writes all kinds of sports, but he does a lot of reporting on NASCAR. And it's just like, once that flag was used, any honor that flag had left was destroyed over the past 150 years by how and where it was used.
Yep.
And it belongs in a museum, and I totally agree. I mean, that's just my same viewpoint too. Like, could you imagine if you if you heard about at an MLB game, an NHL game, a fucking NBA game, if somebody put up a Confederate flag? Like, can you imagine what would happen? I just don't understand. Like, people want to sit here and defend it like it means something. It means absolutely nothing. Like, and I'm somebody from Atlanta, Georgia, right? Like, I consider myself a Southerner, but I see 0 point in having any kind of pride in that thing. I really do.
Pretty much the only legitimate use of the Confederate flag that I personally see of is in General Lee recreations, because those have got to be authentic.
Reenactments. That's it. Museums. That's the only place this belongs.
Yeah. It was really funny. Did I ever tell you about, there's a house that me and my girlfriend were looking into buying, and when we showed up to look at it, there was a General E replica outside of the house, and I was like, that's really freaking cool. And it turns out that the owners were, like, black as hell, which was even better. Like, this black dude had restored an old Charger and done a full General Lee replica on it, complete with the Confederate flag on the roof, which I just found it was, like, hilarious, because it's not, like, it was 100% wasn't the demographic I was expecting to have created a replica of one. You're still muted, by the way.
Sorry about that. That's the last person I was expecting to have something like that.
Yeah, but it was great. Like, I actually ended up meeting him when we visited it a second time. We ended up not getting that house because it was not in the best place in the world. Like, it was really funny. Like, we were totally down for it. It was, like, super functional for us. Like, it actually was a good house for our use case. But then we, like, checked the crime ratings and all sorts of stuff, and it's like, where we live right now, there's about, like, 1 crime a week. It's everything ranging from drunken disorderly conduct to, domestic disputes, the basic stuff that you can't avoid when you live around people. That place was, how many was it? 23 crimes in 6 days?
Wow.
Like, legit, when we pulled the map up, it was like, and I don't just mean, like, loitering, I mean, like, shooting, murder, theft, automotive break-in.
Where was it?
It was like, see, that's the weird thing, is it was like, so what kind of threw us for a loop even is it was kind of like in its own little spot, but it was like just outside of the city. Like, it was like, I don't even remember exactly where it was, like, county-wise. All I know is that it was, like, within a 15-minute radius, or within a 10-mile radius, there is, like, a shoot-ton of just, like, violent crimes that were happening all over the place. And plus, like, half the buildings in the area, like, it was like this reasonably nice house, and then, like, 2 buildings down was, like, an abandoned shell of a warehouse, and, like, 2 houses down from that was like 5 or 6 abandoned, empty shell houses. So overall, it was like there was some, like, initial set-offs that would let you know that it wasn't exactly the best area. But I was just like, well, I mean, like, the house is nice and all the other stuff. And then when we actually did the statistics, like, one of my really good friends even joked that, like, because he actually knew that area a lot better than I did, and he legit said, if you moved there, I would buy a gun before I visited.
Was it fluorescent?
It was not fluorescent.
Okay. I always heard bad things about fluorescent.
See, actually, fluorescent is not that terrible. There are worse areas, for sure. Like, Spanish Lake is pretty bad. some of like it's either East or West St. Louis is really bad. But Ferguson
East St. Louis
actually.
is really bad.
Thank you. Okay, it's East. I'm sorry. Even though I live in St. Louis, I'm like the biggest white boy ever. I live in a lower middle class suburb, and I've never lived anywhere. Like I genuinely if I didn't know. If I didn't like watch news or talk to other people, I would genuinely think St. Louis was like a super safe and super gentrified city, because that's the life I live. Hate me for it, but I've had the benefit that I didn't grow up on the streets, so, or not homeless on the streets, but you know what I mean. I didn't grow up like in the ghetto. I actually technically I grew up in Flagstaff, Arizona, and then I moved back to St. Louis. Anyway, long story short is that I lost my whole point of the story, but almost got. Oh, that's right, because we were talking about the General Lee replica, and then we got talking about the Bad Neighborhood and all of the other stuff. But yeah, it would not have been a great spot to do, and plus also, like I would not have felt comfortable moving in until, because one of the things, like the house was priced fairly cheap. I think it was like $120,000. So I was like, okay, and then I can toss on another $30,000 and build like a really nice garage on the land that this house has, like right next to it. But it was like I would have nowhere to keep my cars safe in the meantime, and I probably would something would have happened to one of my cars in some way, shape, or form, and it wouldn't have been fun.
Yep. No.
Although on the other side, the S2000 couldn't have gotten stolen because it didn't run at the time.
True. I will say one thing you did in the articles. You posted up an article that Willie T. Ribs was in.
Yeah.
Have you seen his documentary on Netflix?
I have seen Uppity, and it is fantastic.
Isn't it great?
Like, okay, we're doing the bad thing where we're plugging people, we're doing free advertising for companies that give us nothing, but Netflix doesn't usually advertise on YouTube. So
you always plug Willie T. Ribs.
Yeah, you always plug. So legit, if you ever have time to sit down, watch the documentary Uppity on Netflix. It is a fantastic watch, and it's just kind of that, like, because in the racing world, we're so kind of used to, well, not in the NASCAR world, people are super used to racism because it's still there, but in especially,
they literally just got rid of them.
They just got rid of the flag. Yeah. But that being said, but like in other, like, it's really easy for us to like forget that all of the social issues that plagued society plagued the racing world at the equivalent points in time. And it was just crazy, like the fact that he almost was an F1 driver, like he was almost the first like African American, and actually African American, not just black, because Lewis Hamilton is he British, right?
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton is British.
Yeah, so but he's, and I think was Lewis Hamilton wasn't the first black F1 driver, was he?
He was.
He was? Really? Fudge, dude.
Yeah.
God, that shows how friggin' backwards the world can be. Because Lewis Hamilton's only been like in the past decade or so, right?
Yeah, he only he started in F1 in 2007.
Yep. So, but Willie T. Ribs almost was an F1 driver, but like the sponsors, like their major sponsor was like, we want an Italian driver. We do not want this American, a black man.
Bippity
Bippity boopy, racist boopy. But yeah, but genuinely, like, this guy is like phenomenal, like straight up an inspiration, especially to me as somebody who, even though I just said that I am like the whitest person ever, I do still identify. Of course, I identify as black. What else would I identify as? Native American. But still, like he's a huge inspiration in terms of the idea of just kind of breaking those boundaries, and he was just really, and it's kind of funny too because like he is a personality, like he's not like the kind of like when you think about tons of like people to look up to you, like so many of them are like they were so calm, and like so many stories about like the civil rights movement and everything are about how all these people were like calm, cool, and collected. But like straight up, he's like, no, I got mad. I freaking got into fights with people. I poop talked with the rest of them. I'm sorry for the lack of my proper word, but gotta go for that monetization stuff. Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, brother.
I guess I could say shiitake talking. Shiitake mushroom talking.
Just say
Yeah, you suck. I'm gonna have to bleep. Oh wait, bleep maybe. Anywho, but no, nonetheless, the guy is definitely a really interesting dude with a really amazing story, and an amazing story about becoming the first Formula One, or not first Formula One, first black IndyCar driver, which is especially still an American sport and all the other stuff. And it is just a fantastic documentary series to follow. And he was, he was the big first. He was a big person in motivating a lot of other African American people to get out there and go racing. And I'm hopeful, and even then, he's still to this day. Like, I'm glad that documentary came out, because at the end of the day, there is a massive lack of black people in racing, like just flat out. There's no, I apologize ahead of time if there are any out there. I've never seen you out there, but I've never seen any black time attackers at Grid Life events. There was no black drivers at Super Lap Battle. My autocross program, despite being in St. Louis, the last autocross I went to had 0 black people. I was the only one there, flat out. And even then, the few people who do come out are like your occasional, like, oh, I do 2 or 3 of those a year. Like, none of them are out racing. And obviously a lot of that is a cultural thing, which I apologize ahead of time. For those of you guys who listen to this to try to get away from this stuff, I apologize. It's going to get a little heavy-ish right now, because we're going to talk about more race stuff. Yay! Race stuff! And not the racy vroom vroom race, the the other kind of race stuff. But, like, societally, flat out, black people are broke. When you grow up in places like St. Louis, your parents were in places that were traditionally black, because the people before them, were traditionally black, and then before that, it was the community where black people congregated after slavery ended. And just statistically, there are, like, black people aren't in that upper middle class to upper class position where they actually have the money and time and energy to invest into doing race car stuff. Like, I will personally identify that I'm kind of like, I call it dead middle class, because there's no such thing as like upper middle and lower middle. But like, I make more money than a lot of people in the middle class, but I make less money than people who are actually well off. But that's that's because of the opportunities I had, again, growing up in hippie land in Flagstaff, Arizona, and then living in, a bunch of, better off suburbs and stuff like that. I had a lot of foundations to get to a point where I could get into doing racing stuff, because I have expendable income. I was able to get a good job and get a lot, but those are opportunities that a lot of people in the black community have been deprived of. And so again, like, I'm glad that documentary kind of came out when it did, because there's more of us need to get inspired to go out and do this stuff, because it's not going to magically happen to you. You have to work for it, and if you're in a bad spot, you're going to have to work even harder for it. So,
yep.
But I want to see more black people in racing, because, like, it's the reason why all my stuff, I was about to point, but my cars don't have any Afro Speed logos on them. But it's why I go with the whole, like, Afro motif, or not, it's not a motif really, but it's why the word Afro is on so many of my other things, is that it's like, it's one of the ways I can be like, yeah, this is a black dude and a black team. We exist. We like doing the same stuff you people do. You people. What do you mean, you people?
We mean you people.
We like, but...
what do you mean?
And
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and there's even one of my friends, or not one of my friends, God, my cousin, my family, she goes to Missouri S&T. She's going to be a mechanical engineer. Woot woot. Black girls in STEM.
Yes.
And one of her friends is, I think he's another mechie, but she actually got me in touch with him, because she was like, hey, he saw, I told him about the fact that you do all sorts of car stuff, and he wants to get into it. So now, unfortunately, that kid is up in Kansas City right now, because Rolla is closed, because there's no in-person school anywhere right now.
Yeah.
And he's normally lives in Kansas City, but as soon as he comes back from Rolla, or not, as soon as he comes back from Kansas City and goes back to Rolla, I've told him straight up, I will pay his gas money to come up here, so I can show him race car stuff up here when it happens. and that's basically what it's going to take. So likewise, also, if any of you guys out there are in a position to help somebody out, you know is like passionate about it, do it, because there's tons of people who really do just need to be given an opportunity to get into it. Because, like I said, life doesn't always give you the right money or the right situation or the right opportunity to make this stuff happen. But likewise, also, even if life does give you the opportunity, you have to seize it. So my goal is to mold that boy and get him hooked so that he then, when he gets his engineering job in the future, he burns all of his money into race car stuff instead of something productive. And actually, no joke, because my end goal still is to actually start a shop and make aftermarket parts. So in a lot of ways, also, I'm consider the business exists, but the products do not. But in another way too, I want to start bringing on engineers, like engineers who are into car stuff, because at the end of the day, that's what I see. I don't see myself as fixing car, I obviously fixing cars, yes, and doing customer cars, but I like the engineering aspect, and I like the designing aspect of things. I love coming up with creative solutions to accomplish different goals. So hopefully that kid gets to be a part of that at some point, but I don't guarantee anything, because who knows if this Afro Speed thing is ever going to take off the ground. You
must believe.
That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to believe, and I'm going to keep on trying at it, because I hate my day job.
You better be a believer.
I'd rather be a poor race car driver than a well-off IT person at this point.
I have that. That's how I feel too, to be honest.
Don't worry. All you have to do, as soon as you can cross the border, then you can come down and you'll join my team, and then you and your wife will move down here again, and then you'll be back in the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Dead on the money. You guys didn't care about Canada that much anyway, right?
We're torn where we want to go, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I forget. Is your wife from where you guys are at? Is that where she grew up and everything?
No, she's originally from Toronto.
Oh, okay.
So, but she lived most of her life in Ottawa.
All right. So, but yeah. So anyway, so that sums up our little NASCAR talk right there. So
yeah,
again, if you're one of our listeners and you're offended by the Confederate flag not being allowed anymore, I half apologize, but at the end of the day, it's like we said, it doesn't stand for anything. It's a half apology for the sake of being borderline polite.
That's pretty much it.
Because it's something that should have happened. Well, I mean, you could argue that technically society should have socially banned it first. It should have already been a faux pas.
This should not be a thing. Yeah,
you should have been getting beer thrown at you when you brought your Confederate flag to begin with. So the fact that NASCAR had to make it a rule is kind of sad in and of itself. But, at the end of the day, now it's a thing, and it will continue to be a thing. And then, what's Bubba's last name?
Wallace.
Bubba Wallace. Yeah, obviously Bubba Wallace, during one of the virtual NASCAR races, he ran a Black Lives Matter.
No, he ran in a real life race. With
was
the
it the real?
Lives.
I thought it was the virtual.
No, they're back to real racing.
Okay, because I think the picture I must have seen was a render or something of it then, because I swear to God I saw a digital version of it where it didn't look real, or maybe games are just that good now that real life looks fake to me. Who knows?
We already had an hour and a half long episode about iRacing, so.
Yup. So yeah, but nonetheless, yeah. But he ran the Black Lives Matter livery, which I actually really liked, because it wasn't just about Black Power. It was the black and the white fist together, which I really liked.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing too, is a lot of people go onto the far extreme where it's Black Lives Matter and only Black Lives Matter right now. Which, again, that's not the point. I get that the point is to bring focus to the issues at hand, which is that right now, Black lives don't matter in a lot of people's eyes. But yeah, so anyway, long story short is I liked the way Bubba did it. And, and of course he's going to be the one to do it, because he's the only... Is he still the only black NASCAR driver? He's still the only one, right? You muted again, by the way.
Oh, sorry, I hit the button the wrong time. Yes, he is. He's the only black driver.
Yeah. And have there been other black NASCAR drivers in the past, though?
On and off. I mean, the most famous being Wendell Scott. That's another story. But there's been a few through time. I think the most recent before Bubba Wallace was Bill Lester.
Well, like I said, here's hoping, though, that we start to see... I mean, I don't think it's going to happen fast, and again, due to the sheer culture difference, I mean, like, so much of racing is, you know, thanks Dad Racing or thanks close family friend who has a lot of money and a lot of faith racing. So, you know, because of that, hopefully not always, but for the long term, there is going to be, you know, there's still going to be that big separation in racing. But again, if you're African American and you're listening to this and you're into racing, just follow it, dude. There's not enough of us out there, and for the few of us that are out there, we're out there to support you, because you've got, you know, there's a family out there looking to support you to try to get more people out there, because there's already plenty of white people out there doing it. And likewise, you know, every other minority too. Like there's a small handful. Actually, there's a slowly growing handful of Chinese people out there. Decent handful of Japanese people, but like I've never seen an Indian race team here in America. Never seen one. They very well might exist. I've just never seen it. And that's one of the things that's one of the reasons why I really hope that my shop takes off, is that like I would love to actually be a bit of a diversity beacon, because nobody else is doing it. And like I said, I mean, in all the circles I run in, especially, dude, rally is like the whitest sport ever.
Yeah, that's
like straight up white bread. I've never had.
That's like the whitest of sports.
I've never had a black person come. No, that is a big dirty lie. We did have one other black person come to our rallycross events back in the day. But it's like between rally, time attack, autocross, it's just like it's hard to find. Drag racing, I will say, drag racing probably has a much healthier concentration.
I think drag racing has a lot more diverse population.
Yeah, and I think
than
again,
anything else.
I think it's just because the barrier of entry is so much less. It's less intimidating.
I mean,
and it's so much easier to be competitive too, because drag racing is one of the few ones where you're half racing yourself. So like some borderline stock cars can genuinely be competitive in their segment, whereas like in autocross you can be too, but it's like, you know, you're not gonna be a number one PAX competitor in a Dodge Charger, flat out. You're not gonna do it. There's gonna be a Miata that whoops your pants off no matter what you do. Whereas in drag racing, like I said, it's all the bracket racing stuff. So it is the most, and plus there's like 3 drag strips for every track out there, like flat out. So it is the most successful.
There really is.
So that being said, I will take some of my statements back and say, let's get black people in more different kinds of racing, because drag racing has kind of gotten its shiznit together in terms of being more diverse. Because there you have all, I mean, hell, look at what's his name? He does 911s. He has the 1,000 horsepower Honda Odyssey. What's his name? What's his name? I can't remember his name. Why? God, I should know this.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
What
about.
the
But
heck,
yeah, I'm
dude?
drawing a blank too.
Any other day of the week or time, I can say his name backwards, but today I'm drawing a blank. Well, anywho, most of you guys know who we're talking about when I said 1,000 horsepower Honda Odyssey and Porsches, but like for instance, he got his start in drag racing. There's tons of Mexican like I've watched so many TV shows and specials and videos where it's like some Mexican family has been drag racing, or like drag racing is kind of beautifully diverse, honestly. It really is.
Yeah.
Good job, drag racing. Now let's get more people making left and right turns.
Indeed.
So, speaking of left and right turns, this car probably isn't doing very many of them, but somebody finally put the Elephant crate motor into a Dodge Demon. Now, that being said, I say finally because it's the first article I've seen, and I try to follow, like, you know, especially with the podcast, I've been following news for the past few months, like, consistently, and the Elephant only came out last year. But I have not seen, like, and I'm sure there's probably some applications in, like, other weird cars and stuff like that, but, like, especially considering that the Elephant is just a heavily modified Hemi, like, it literally sits at home in a Challenger. Like, that's where it fits. Everything is literally already there to make the Elephant work. So, it would make sense. And then plus, I believe they got all of the auxiliary systems going too. So they have like the after chiller from the Demon, where the AC gets reverted. Like, I think they got everything switched over, because again, it's like it's a Hemi with all the same sensors. It's just different internals, different headwork, and all the other stuff. But all of the basics of it are just the standard, you know, Demon Hemi with a lot more. So, I look forward. The video pretty much just shows them doing some dyno runs and making some changes here and there. So, hopefully we get to see this thing do some draggy stuff, and we'll get to see if it actually, you know, goes reasonably faster than a Demon. Although, one thing I will say is it's kind of an interesting starting point, because I feel like there's already, like, obviously I'm pretty sure that they did it mostly for the clicks, because there are already people building, you know, 1,000 horsepower Hemi motors aftermarket. So, especially when the Hellcat came rolling through, you know, they just took the Hellcat design and redesigned that. So, I really am wondering if the Elephant is actually has a higher ceiling than just a modified, you know, Hellcat block. But if their goal was to, you know, have it be as OEM plus as possible, then it's like, okay, well then fair enough, because then it's, like I said, it's basically bolt-in, plug-and-play. You got 1,000 horsepower on a motor with a warranty. Yeah,
that's so dumb. That's so crazy to me.
God, I cannot wait until I can build my first crate motored car. Like it's on that bucket list to actually do a ground up, like strip to the chassis, full ground up build, you know, order motor, engineer, all that stuff. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna force it to happen, even if it means that I get to continue to complain about how much debt I'm in. It's gonna happen someday. This guy is like $5,000 of debt right there. Boom, that car. Although luckily now I'm starting to scrabble together enough side money. Less and less things have put me deeper into debt. And also, to be fair, I'm also not just like impulse spending. I crashed it and I needed to fix it, so boom, it got wide bodied as a fix. It's an excessive fix, but it was a fix. It literally cost me the same amount of money to wide body it as it would have to have a body shop fix it. So there you go, boom. But yeah, and then likewise the WRX had tires that put me into debt because they went, like, I had a oopsie at a very inopportune time. Anyway, all stories for another day. So then, actually going back into the EV stuff for a little bit. So Germany, as part of their recovery plan / restructuring plan post-COVID, is that they are going to provide tons of incentives and require that every gas station in Germany also offer EV charging, which is a big old frickin' deal, because like that is literally the final step to making electric cars genuinely like, they may not be as time viable, but when every podunk gas station in the middle of nowhere has to have a charger of some sort, you'll never be stranded in an electric car. You might be stranded for, 3 or 4 hours, but then you can get back on the road again and continue where you're going. And I really do hope that other countries start following suit with this, because, like, I mean, we already require that, like, gas stations of, I think it's literally a thing that, like, every gas station is supposed to offer air, like, as just a safety thing. So, like, that's, like, one thing that we've done here in the United States. But and then likewise, how like fuel pumps are required to be a standard thing and stuff like that. So I would love to see America do some sort of incentive program like that to help get make EV cars more more usable, because God, just the idea of being able to finally be free of range anxiety because any gas station sign you see and you're good to go. Like that really does open up doors for at least for German people, in terms of the validity of it. Although, and especially European countries, they're really adopting it pretty quick. Like more and more companies are providing more and more incentives and pluses, and I don't remember. There was some European country that recently, like, it was like 23% of all new, or no, it was like 40% of all new car sales were electric cars, which is like a big old deal. Now, that being said, they're also traditionally like not poor, but they're not crazy rich countries, so it's like the number of people buying new cars is also a small number, but still, it's significant. And plus, those are countries that actually have like a culture of protecting the environment instead of butt raping it with a fence pole.
Yeah.
So, that being said, do you want to talk about our last little German tidbit here?
Is Dunkervort German?
It sounds German, is it not? I don't actually know.
I'm guessing it's Dutch.
Is it Dutch? That actually very well may be correct.
It's from the Netherlands.
The Netherlands?
Come on, man. Something.
Donkervoort. Anyway, you can talk about it while I learn myself about me some Donkervoort.
Sorry, it's
and
a cool
right,
car.
It's
just the name. Yeah.
Oh, they have 25. They actually have 25 employees.
Yeah, so the new Dunkervoort D8 GTO-JD70 can pull 2 Gs of lateral force through corner. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude, that's actually kind of terrifying.
That's terrifying for a street car.
I mean, right now, go and try and lift. So at 2 Gs, it's not a hard science here, boys and girls. So if any of you guys are physics people, yes, I'm wrong here. I'm making a best effort. But like if the average human head weighs 8 pounds, like go ahead right now and go and try and lift like 20-ish pounds with just your neck. Like just hang something from your head and go 1, 2, 3. That's how hard you're gonna have to hold your head up when you're going at full tilt in a corner in this thing.
Yeah.
And
that's just insane to me.
This car is just, it's a Caterham on crack cocaine and methamphetamines at the same time.
What I love the most is it's a 5-cylinder.
Yeah, oh my god, it's gotta sound so freaking amazing.
It's gonna sound so good.
Like, I love everything about this car, except I will say the look is a little, like, it's a very classic looking car. Like, again,
it's very Donker. It's based off a Lotus 7.
Yeah. So, but god, it is just like everything about it just screams stupid fun. Like, in 2 Gs, I mean, to put that in perspective, I don't even think the Senna does 2 Gs in the skid pad.
Either.
Yeah, like, flat out, it doesn't. And I'm trying to think if there's even a crazier car than the Senna in terms of raw cornering power. Oh, I will say it's kind of funny. I was watching an episode where Chris Harris was reviewing this, or he was doing a comparison between the Senna and a 570 something GT3 car. And apparently the Senna is actually kind of like not quite as like racy as they would have you think. Like it's a wickedly fast car with stupid downforce, don't get me wrong. But he was talking about the fact it actually has some understeer in it, like not the good kind of understeer. And he actually said like if he would choose the GT3 every time over the Senna because the GT3 was just way more predictable. But that's one reviewer's opinion, and who knows, he could be off his rocker, or he could have just been having a bad day or whatever. But nonetheless, still, I'm going to use the Senna, because the Senna is one of the ones I can actually remember number on. And I can't name, I genuinely don't think I've ever heard of a road car making 2 Gs. I'm trying to think if there's one that I've ever heard of, because even Lotuses don't do it. God, yeah. I'm sure that there is something.
It's
Feel free to hit me up with a nasty email or something, or since this is going on YouTube, put it in the comments below about how wrong I am about how many cars have hit 2Gs. But it's not a common occurrence. It is not.
It's not.
It's
like
very
that's
special.
insane.
Yeah, it is uncomfortable, is what it is. Like, I'm glad this thing comes with a proper seat and harness setup, because you would need it with that kind of cornering power.
This car. You ever heard of Weissman?
The name sounds familiar, but I can't tell you anything
kind
about it off the top of my head.
Built crazy coupes like this. They folded, I think, in 5 years ago, which sucks because they made some pretty cool cars. But this is what it reminds me of. And like Donkervoort and Weissman are two like low volume car brands that I just think are just fucking cool.
Yeah. That being said, it's kind of sad that we can't really support. I mean, maybe you can. I know I can't. At 100, I think it's like 150 or 180,000. I can't. One of those is pounds and one of those is dollars. So I think it's $180,000 for one of these.
Yeah, the 163 euro or $184,000.
What was that car like that was another weird like silly car that Richard Hammond just bought one of? What was that?
I don't know. What did Richard Hammond just buy?
I don't know. It was some weird kiddie car like this, but it was like, at the end of the day, it definitely just does suck.
Morgan.
Yeah, that's right. He got the silly Morgan, the silly.
I kind of think Morgans are cool too. I would own a Morgan for a year and then sell it.
I'm trying to think. Would I own a Morgan?
I would.
I'm torn. I probably would, but I don't know if. But at that being said, at the same time, for the money, it's like, ooh, there's so many other choices. Like, I mean, to be honest, I will admit I'm a big Ariel Atom fanboy.
Morgans are so expensive.
Yeah, and plus also, there's like, owning one here in the United States would be a big old pain, because any service or parts would be a big old pain to get a hold of. Who knows? Maybe they send people out. They might send people out, but then that's also money.
That's a lot of money.
But hey, if you have like McLaren F1 maintenance money, then you can do that. Just like have you ever watched any of the videos about like the one dude, like one of the like three technicians?
We've talked about this.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? We did. That's right. Yeah, we talked about it. But God, that was insane to me. Just that the whole process behind it is just insane. And it's like, I would love something like that. Like, it's such meticulous and mechanical work. And honestly, like, I spend so much of my life, working on cars, half on guesswork. And then, once you've done it once or twice, it's not guesswork anymore. But sometimes I really do wonder what it's like to be a specialty mechanic for a very special car or line of cars at a manufacturer, because then it's like all of the confusion and hard stuff is taken out of the picture, because you have all the specialty tools, so you're not hitting something with a hammer and a screwdriver at a weird angle and hoping it doesn't slip and screw something up. You have the fancy cup with like a hydraulic thing and whatever. You got all the special stuff. Because like, I take a huge amount of satisfaction in having the right tool for the job. It's the reason why, like, I mean, I'll either link or toss up a picture of my garage as it sits, but I've got like $5,000 worth in tools in my garage alone, and half of them I use like once a year, if even. I have a cherry picker and an engine stand. Technically, both of my engines have been out, so I've actually used it a bunch over the past couple. Okay, that's a lie. I've used it in singular instances over the past couple of years. S2000 engine came out, then WRX engine came out. So it's like in a 2-year period, I used them both twice. But I have them. I've got all sorts of. I dropped like $500 worth on woodworking tools this year. Now it's bugging me that I didn't get my drill bit back from that dude. I need to talk to him and get my drill and drill bit. But I didn't lend him my good drill. I lent him my other drill. So, but he's pretty good about getting stuff back to me. But that being said, by the way, guys, don't ever loan tools unless you're ready to lose it.
Nope.
Because
Yep.
Which is exactly why I loan him the drill I don't care about. And the drill bit set's like $30. It's not the end of the world if I have to get another big drill bit. What was I also was thinking of? Oh, but yeah. Anyway, so long story short is that just the idea of having all the I like having a variety of tools to solve different problems and working on stuff. So it would definitely be fun, which is part of the reason why I kind of just want to build my own race cars, because then, when you build your own race car, you can build your own tools and your own methods for doing things, and then you know it like the back of your hand. And you can take it apart blindfolded. Yep. Which, by the way, it'd be really easy to take the S2000 apart blindfolded. It's really simple. Like
you've done it a million times now.
Hey, I've only done it Actually, this is the first time I've ever touched the suspension on this car. I've touched everything drivetrain-wise has come out and done stuff, but I've never touched the corners. Never. I'm still on the brake rotors it came on, still on the pads that it came on. That's going to change. I have new rotors and pads now. I'd never done anything, not even, touched the alignment bolts or anything. So this was my first time doing it. On the WRX, I've taken every corner apart 8 times. So that one especially, and because by the way, that gen, the 02 to 07 WRXs, dead simple to fix the basic stuff on. It is amazing how easy it is to work on that damn car. I say that as somebody with a ton of tools. But if you get an STI, the wheel bearings are bolt-in, so you actually don't have to use a press. So if you have an STI, dead simple. It's suspension is 3 bolts on the top, 2 bolts on the bottom, and 1 bolt for the ABS line. Or no, 1 bolt for the brake line. Then yeet it out. Control arms, 2 bolts. They don't seize up very often, so they're usually... Actually, that's a dirty lie. They can seize up. So, again, but easy, simple cars. It's kind of one of the beautiful things about some of these older cars is just it's all really simple, easy bolt-on, bolt-off stuff. Super easy. And plus, once you own the full set, so much stuff I bought to work on the WRX is stuff I've then used on this car. So, and by the way, if you're wondering why I'm pointing out that way, it's because my WRX is outside, because this fatty is in the middle of the garage, because Corona is delaying all my parts. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, now it's also a combination of other things, but hopefully we'll have some part situation taken care of, and this thing will be...
I'm pissed off your Olins showed up before, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, before the part that they said was supposed to ship before the Olins did.
Yeah.
That was just hilarious.
Thanks, NRC suspension.
Especially even worse, because I'd have taken the bushings first, because I could at least bolt it together with the old suspension, but it needs bushings to go back together in any way.
Yeah.
But, oh, by the way, some good news, though, is thanks to the semi-truck backing into my WRX, everything is fixable, and I'm going to get in a sponsorship with Diode Dynamics, and hopefully, I still have to see, because my friend works there, so he can put in a lot of word for me. And the hope is that I'll be able to get 4 of their LED light pods to replace my 2 broken lights and my 2 lights up top. So fingers crossed, fixing the WRX will be a $0 cost, which means I get to pocket the $900 I got from the insurance company for backing into it. Which means I may actually, by the end of this month, finally be reaching out to you about my wheels and tires. And I actually probably even tomorrow, I'll ding you to, is Jeff the tire guy as well, or is that somebody else? I can't remember.
Taha.
Did you say Taha?
Yeah.
Is his name Taha? Taha's the wheel and tire guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
His name's Taha.
Yeah.
Taha is from Somalia.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so anyway, but I'll be hitting you guys up for a quote just to see what around it's going to cost. But on paper,
$8 million.
Oh, okay. Well, that's easy. That's cheap money.
Yep.
And what do I look like? Some poor person who can only afford $1 million? But yeah, but on paper though, because the Federals that I picked out, they're only like $150 per tire, which again, it's because you're not getting peak performance. But at this point, I'm just trying to relearn the frickin' chassis because I've got new suspension, and I've driven the car. Actually, I drove the car for 3 months because the WRX was broken. So, to be fair, I drove it for 3 months. But I haven't driven it proper in full health in, like, so long. It's so long. Like, fingers crossed, this is the last thing I have to do to the car that will ever keep it down for this long ever again. And actually, that's a dirty lie, because I'm probably going to vinyl wrap it at some point. But, nonetheless, I won't. But vinyl wrapping can be done while it's still drivable. So, there's that. But yeah, so hopefully, like I said, wheels and tires will be hopefully pretty soon, and I'm hoping with the federal tires only being like $150-$160 per tire, that I will be able to do the whole thing for like around $1,800 instead of the $2,300 originally when I was paying for like $230 a tire, and yeah, so.
Yep.
Anywho, that is all that we had in terms of actual news today, aside from my tangents and stuff. Huge thank you to all of you guys who actively listen to us. I know that there's a few of you out there, so, you know, like I said, if you actively listen to us, email me and I'll get you that $10 gift card for food. This week's secret spicy code is going to be, I don't know, what should the super secret spicy code be this week?
Donkervort.
Boom. All right. And that is Donkervoort. Donkervoort. Send that to me in an email at juan@thecolumnshifters.com, and I will send you a $10 gift cardy kind of thing to whatever food place you want to go to. And as always, you guys, if you are interested in listening to us, you know, as much as we all hate to do it, but dude, make sure to subscribe, because then you can actually find out when we're releasing new podcasts every 2 weeks. So far, I've been pretty consistent at releasing it on Monday every week. So this is being recorded on a Thursday, and it'll be released next Monday, which is whatever 4 days away from 6/18 is. Is it 4 days? God, I feel stupid right now, but my brain is totally shut.
Monday?
Yeah, what's Monday?
4 days away.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, good job, brain. Yeah, so that is the 22nd is when this is going to come out. So, like I said, be sure to, and also, likewise, if you like what we have to talk about, check out our website, too. We've got a ton of articles about our points of view on a bunch of stuff. And by we, I say, you know, the other guys, because I've written exactly, like, one article that's stayed. It's about bench racing. But that being said, there's going to be more articles to come. And, likewise, you know, if you stay subscribed, you'll get to find out about when we're doing my goal is I'm really hoping next, probably the next podcast, well, not the next podcast we do, but my goal is next month for us to do our first special. So, we'll see if things work out with that. Like, we've got 2 different things we're going to go with. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys ahead of time. One of them's an interview, and another one is a story. So, we'll see whichever one comes up first. But in the meantime, everyone be safe, stay healthy out there, and, you know, we'll see you in the next podcast. Peace out, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.